There we go. Now we're loading in. Finally. Hey Pom, thanks for the raid, dude. Totally no collusion here. I'm just gonna grab myself a cup of tea, because the jug's boiled. I'm waiting for the server to load in. I'll be with you guys in like 10 seconds. Typical Growling Sidewinder server, it's taken me like 10 minutes just to get to this stage. Probably gonna start out with the MiG-29. There's not many people on at the moment, so the airspace shouldn't be too crowded. When there's more people on, I tend to fly the 27. The data link is really helpful, but when it's pretty quiet, the MiG-29 seems to be a pretty solid option. A bit later I might switch up, see if anyone's on Burning Skies or something. I kind of feel like doing some Spitfire. Thank you to whoever that is. I will check in just a second. Conveniently, my PC is right next to my kitchen, so I can still hear what's going on while I'm making my tea. There we go. Now I'm prepared. Hey! Thanks for the sub, Pom. I can't see my phone from there. I can hear it, but I can't see it. Alright. Oh my god, it's still loading. Now, against my better judgment, I'll probably be flying from Tbilisi, even though last time I flew from Tbilisi, the entire runway and taxiway was created by very intelligent people on my team. Okay, here we go, finally. Who the fuck is gonna sub at 3:25 AM? Hey, it's 5:30 in the evening here. It could have been someone more local to me. Or it could have been someone else who doesn't have a normal sleep cycle. I mean, this is Twitch. I think most people on here are probably up at weird hours. Alright. Yep, Tbilisi. There we go. Oh, we're back to winter. So I'm hoping between the low number of players and, well, just the low number of players mostly, that DCS is going to behave itself today. My performance since the patch has been absolutely abysmal. Whatever they did to fix the so-called, whatever the so-called fix was for the memory leak, it actually made things significantly worse for me. Oh. I'm glad he didn't hit something and wipe me out. Change the skin first. By the way, just for Pom's benefit, none of those bare metal ones work on the 29S. I've already tried. I think I've actually got to change the nationalities of them so that they work. I know. I thought you'd be disappointed, but I keep forgetting to do it. I think it's just that the like the actual livery files don't have the nationalities set so that Russia can use them. Because I'm pretty sure the UVW maps for the 29S and the 29A are identical. Okay. Should be armed by now, just about. I've noticed another thing since the patches that the seeker head window on the R73 has turned opaque. Like an opaque grey colour. I think it used to be black. Do 21 NK with radar. God damn it. I might do that next flight just for the memes. It is pretty quiet on here, so I might get away with it. Oh my god. We are so outnumbered. This is a very target-rich environment. Also a spam ram-rich environment, unfortunately for me. Imagine remembering to turn your electrical power on before you try and start the engine. Right. Let's get ready to go. So I've been looking around for photo references of the HUD of the MiG-23. Man, it's hard to find. There's really not a lot of resources out there for the MiG-23, which is really sad. It's so underappreciated in the West. Hey, Axel. I swear to God, if I see one more clickbait YouTube video or fucking defense analyst article with Russia's worst fighter and MiG-23 in the same title line, I'm gonna hit someone. Imagine thinking that something's a bad fighter because one of your own generals killed himself in it doing something stupid, and it required 14 maintenance hours per hour of flight instead of 8 like a MiG-21. Meanwhile, the Phantom was, what, about 75 or something? Why take the Virgin R73 when you can have the Chad R60M? See, as much as I love the R60M, I would actually like to be able to kill things, and the MiG-29 doesn't have very many pylons. Like, if I could double rack 60s on this, I would. I legit would take double rack 60s over the 73, to be honest. Oh, wow! Thanks, Pom. Jeez. Big spender. Welcome to whatever we're supposed to call this community. I don't have a name for it yet. They haven't quite named themselves either. I have a grand total of 1 emote so far. I'm looking at getting some commissioned, but I kind of need money to do that, so those subs will help go towards paying for some more stuff for the channel. Okay, we should be just about ready to go. Gotta wait for the right engine to spool up. Oh boy, look at all those Hornets. I am still flying with broken pedals, so my rudder inputs are a little scuffed at the moment, but hey, that's what this stream is all about. Bad flying, broken equipment, general incompetence. Totally no collusion, none at all. None whatsoever. Surprisingly, it looks like nobody's created our own runway yet. Mind you, the day is young, and it looks like the server's only recently come back up from how low the population is. I didn't think to check before joining. The other thing I need to do, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon, but just in the outlandish event my server gets enough, like my Discord server gets enough Nitro Boost to actually get the little animated server icon, I'm going to animate the little angle of attack indicator. It's a shame it doesn't work out very well as a Twitch emote. I guess it's just too detailed and too low of a resolution. Alright, well, too high of a resolution in too small of a resolution emote. So, what I'm looking at getting, once I can find someone to do them and scratch together the pocket change for it, is a what are you doing emote, which will be a very confused looking US Navy plane captain. I might keep the stall for now until I can get something a little bit less janky. Oh, I subbed to you in 3-month blocks, Pom. I think my next resub's not up for a while. Oh yeah, the bot's broken, by the way. I'm not sure why. I might have to reinstall the actual chat bot, but it's non-functional. I think Twitch updated a bunch of stuff on their end, because for the last few days Twitch has been really janky. Chat got wiped out in a couple streams I was watching the past few days, and everyone's bots seem to be breaking at the moment, so... Unfortunately, we have no, hey, what are you doing? But it's there in our hearts. Especially mine, and in my head. I hear it in my dreams. No one landing. Good. No craters. None that I can see anyway. Also good. Flaps down. Kinda sorta line up. Power on, and let's go.
1, 2, 0. Латиния. Слет по готовности. Отход по схеме на 300. По давлению 7, 1, 2, 4, 8.
Gear and flaps up.
Трехсотый, 120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120, 300. Обнаружена цель. 272. Удалению 110 на 3000. Сближайтесь.
It's kind of funny, when I'm over major cities like that, especially when I'm streaming, my frame rate isn't technically low, but it kind of surges. I'm not sure, well, actually I am sure you guys can see that, because if I can notice it, you can pretty much certainly notice it, but it's a little bit annoying. But I'm one of these weirdos who prefers the game to look pretty over performance. I've never had a top-of-the-line PC, like literally never, so I'm used to kind of janky frame rates and I can live with them. But what I can't live with is games not looking pretty. You know, I'm all about that immersion life, so hopefully it runs alright, especially since the server is pretty quiet at the moment, but I can't guarantee you silky smooth performance. Then again, I can't guarantee you silky smooth flying either, so perhaps it, you know, is appropriate. I'm gonna guess that's a friendly.
Трехсотый, 120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120, 300. Обнаружена цель. 276. Удалению 60 на 500. Дистанция не меняется.
Saturday night's alright for flying, it sure is. Perfect for flying. We got something off our nose. I don't think he's aware of my presence yet, so if I can get a little closer, I'll be happy.
300, 120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120, 300. Обнаружена цель. 279.
It's down in the valley.
35 на 500. Сближайтесь.
Gonna go active radar. What are we flying? A MiG-29, MiG-29S.
300-й, 120-й.
This beauty right here.
120-й,
204 for 26.
Обнаружена цель. 284. Удаление 26 на 2000. Сближайтесь.
Still doesn't see me. I'm on Growling Sidewinder's PvP server at the moment. Get rid of my belly tank since I'm about to be in combat very shortly.
Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 270. Удаление 27 на 2000. Расходитесь.
I'm surprised I can't see him. Must be just behind a ridge. Something on his team can see me, so he'll probably have me come up on SA if he's a Hornet.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 283. Удаление.
He's now dropped out of our AWACS line of sight.
Сближайтесь.
We got a friendly off the nose. Something just fired a missile up there. Guy off my front right's got lock on me.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120-й, 300-й.
69 for 35.
269. Удаление 35 на 500.
That's him.
Сближайтесь.
If I can just lock the guy, there's a second one as well. Nope.
Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор.
300-й,
Переведи в
120-й.
набор.
Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 316. Удаление 13 на 2000. Сближайтесь. 300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Find that ridge maybe.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 007. Удаление 10 на 2000. Дистанция не меняется. 300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Can't see this guy.
120-й, 300-й.
More can I wax?
267. Удаление 22 на 2000. Сближайтесь.
Переведи в набор. 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 Переведи в набор.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена
Missile trail over there.
72. Удаление 35.
There's still somebody close.
Сближайтесь.
So gotta be real careful here. Unless my teammate bagged him, maybe? I don't know. I'm still very much learning this, so you may not see the greatest flying here, but I do try.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 2, 7,
Interesting.
удаление. 200.
Very interesting.
13 тысяч. Дистанция не меняется.
There's got to be something closer than that, surely. Oh, there's something back near our base. Jeez. Might have to start heading back home then, if they've got through.
Вращение. 120-й. Прибой.
1-2-0. Лачение. Пеленг. Ваш
300-й,
прибой
120-й.
9-9.
Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 2, 6, 5. Удаление. 150. На 0. Сближайтесь.
So, oh, actually, it looks like most of Blue disconnected. We were really heavily outnumbered about 5-10 minutes ago, and now it's a bit more even. That's a shame. I like having things to shoot at.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Gonna be really disappointed if the server empties out.
300-й.
I only just got on.
2, 6, 9. Удаление.
This is normally one of the most crowded servers on DCS. This area of the mountains here, this area of the South Caucasus, turns into an absolute conga line, as everyone flying on blue from Kutaisi and everyone flying on red from Tbilisi just fly directly at each other over the mountains. It gets pretty wild and woolly in here on a busy night, but for now it's pretty tranquil. Somebody did launch on me earlier, but it wasn't a very good shot. I think I was terrain masking already when he fired, so the missile just got trashed right away. Added to one of the few occasions I've actually got rid of an AMRAAM.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель. 120-й, 300-й.
Yeah, our nearest contact's getting called 140 miles out.
Удаление. 100.
If that is actually the nearest, I need to refuel anyway.
Сближайтесь.
But it's also entirely possible someone's closer and is just terrain masking. Well, my teammates can see something on their data link, but they're pretty far out. Really, the MiG-29's only weakness, other than its short range, is the lack of a data link. You really notice the difference in situational awareness between this and the SU-27, which is why most people fly the SU-27 over the MiG-29. Personally, I prefer how this handles. It's just a really pleasant aircraft to fly, and it accelerates like nobody's business, so you can get out of trouble real quick. Whereas the Su-27, it's still fast, it's just a bit more sluggish because of the size of the thing.
Вращение 120. Прибой.
Один,
turn the
два,
radar
ноль.
off.
Латинья, Стеллинг. Ваш прибой 102.
102, so pretty much straight off the nose. This is the edge of Tbilisi here. So we should be able to see the runway pretty soon. Go in, refuel, don't need to rearm because I haven't had a chance to fire at anything yet. And then head back out. Looks like there's more people getting on, so we should have some targets at least. Never played any flight sim games. I grew up on flight sims, so I've always had my own PC since I was about 6 years old. But when I really got into gaming, like before that was mostly used for writing and things like that. But when I got into gaming, it was through flight sims. So my uncle had an old Logitech joystick and a copy of Combat Flight Simulator 1. And actually, no, it's Combat Flight Simulator 2, sorry. And he gave those to me. So that's what got me hooked. Within about a year or two of that, my parents bought me a 4-pack of European Air War, EF-2000, F-22 Total Air War, and Falcon 4.0. And that single purchase was responsible for me nearly having to repeat a year at school because I just didn't bother doing any work at all. I'd come home and I'd play flight sims. And it kind of... From there, I branched out into other things. I started playing shooters. I got really into Halo, Half-Life 2. Wasn't really big into Counter-Strike. I did play it with my friends, but I was terrible at it. I used to play a lot of Day Defeat Source as well. Then I got into Red Orchestra, which is still one of my favourite games of all time. The original, that is. And, well, I say the original, I mean Ostfront. Not the mod, but not Red Orchestra 2. And from there, I got into IL-2 as well, so I used to play that. I got into Arma. For a few years, I didn't really play any flight sims because I had an X-52 Pro, which broke. I've still got it in here, it's just sitting in a box in the other side of the room, but yeah, it broke on me. So for a couple of years, I didn't have a working stick, so I didn't play any flight sims. And now I'm starting to get back into them because I bought myself a Warthog and I can fly again. I've always been into aviation ever since I can remember. Like, literally some of my earliest memories are of me at air shows. I have about 50 hours of flying under my belt in real life. I'm a student pilot. I've kind of let it lapse over a year or so. Well, actually nearly 2 years, I think. But yeah, I'm looking to get back into it when I have some time. Black Sparrow, thanks for the follow. Unfortunately, real life stress kind of grounded me for a while, and then the length of time I was grounded kind of discouraged me from picking it back up, but I do want to get back into the air. When I'm flying is really the only time where I don't get stressed and I can just relax. So not being able to do that for a while has kind of got to me. I'm not designed to be on the ground, I'm supposed to be in the air. Play some racing games. One I'm most fond of was Colin McRae Rally 2. I played some racing games, not as many as flight sims, but I did play some. Oh, I've still got the... Wait, no, I got rid of the drop tank. Okay. When I was still in high school, I played quite a lot of Need for Speed Underground 2. I played some Dirt as well. But I was never crash hot at driving games, I've always been more into the flying side of things. Coming in a little fast. And a little off-center. I'm actually off to the left of center line today. Usually I'm off to the right of it. And that was a bit of a hard landing. Not my greatest work. But then again, I haven't played DCS much over the past week. Stream that? I might have to, actually. I'm not sure if I still got it installed. I'll have to check. I don't have any driving peripherals, so... The fact I'm not a very good driver is only compounded by the use of keyboard, but... It is fun. At the moment, I actually live in a big, well, not a big town, but a serious motorsport town. For those of you that have raced Mount Panorama in various games, I live in its shadow, pretty much. I live in Bathurst.
1-2-0. Заруливайте на стоянку.
I've yet to actually get down and see the 1000 myself, like, ever, because I've always been working when they hold it, but it's a goal. One year, I'd like to go out and see the V8s race on the mountain. How do I do bit spam? What do you mean? You just do the bits thing. Click the bits icon and then it'll come up with a little thing and then you put in however many. Oh, stream on your fly. I don't really have any means of doing it. Maybe if I like blue tack my phone to the windscreen or something, maybe. But I don't have a GoPro or anything like that. Once I do actually finally get round to knocking over my final 2 exams and doing my check flights, I have my license, yeah, I think I will start doing a lot more flying, and I'll try and see if I can stream some of it. This is a really good area to fly. I don't really like living out in the country. You know, Bathurst's not really small by Australian standards, but it's quite isolated. And it kind of bores me to tears. I'm a real city person. A lot of my friends are still up the coast. But one thing it is good for is flying. Flying here is brilliant because you don't have to worry about traffic.
L underscore 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 L underscore.
You forgot the question mark there, Paul, but thanks. Alright. Got to shut down because the Flaming Cliffs 3 ground crew are wimps and will not come near you with the engines running. Although it doesn't really matter actually since I'm only refueling. I could have probably left the engines running. I might do that.
Перезарядка по плану. Прием.
If it'll let me do that. There we go. Yeah, we got a couple people on blue now. Better reset my trim so I don't tail scrape when I take off, which I've had a bad habit of doing for the last few days.
Question mark.
Uh-oh. Oh no, Pom! You got jebaited. It didn't even read them. See, you've offended it now. You have offended my text-to-speech. Hydraulic boost pumps must not be on yet. sluggish still. I want a full fidelity MiG-29 so bad. I want my MiG-23. That's what I really want. I'm just dying for the MiG-23. So I'm carrying a mixed loadout. I've got two 27 ETs for mid-range work, two 77s, and two 73s. To be honest, I could probably replace the 73s with 77s because they turn about as well, because magic. But, yeah, I'd rather not be entirely reliant on the active missiles, to be honest. Alright, we're good to go. Thankfully, the high gain steering on the MiG-29 makes up for the fact that my pedals are broken. Jesus, this mod spam in chat. It's out of control. I think I need some new mods. Oh, I see what you think this is. Maybe you should have spent those $15 on typing lessons. I mean, I could give you the typing lessons, but I'm just saying. Just get a better keyboard, forehead. My keyboard is at least 20 years old. You would probably need an archaeologist to interpret the layers of dust upon its surface, but it still works really well. And I'm so used to the layout of this keyboard that anytime I use any other keyboard on any other computer, it fucks me up. This is like one of those really old... It's still got a PS2 port. That's how old... Like a PS2 plug on it. That's how old this keyboard is. It's like some ancient Microsoft multimedia keyboard from the late 90s or early noughties. It's Dad's old keyboard, which I yoinked off him when he got a new one. I was still in school when I did that. No one coming. Oh, there we go. Someone's had a whoopsie. I knew it was only a matter of time.
Один, два, ноль. Взлет запрещаю. 1, 2, 0. Латиния. Взлет по готовности. Отход по схеме на 300. По давлению 712,48.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 269. Удаление 250 на 500. Сближайтесь.
I scored this ancient compact laptop off a guy. He was looking to get rid of it because it was just taking up space. It has no color working on the screen, it's just a monochrome screen. It's the size of like a house, it's huge, weighs a ton. Still running Windows 3.1. Like, I got this for free off this dude probably about 15 years ago. I still have it somewhere, I don't know where, it still works. What can I say, man? Old stuff is built to last. I'm more of a mechanically minded person than an electrically minded person, so sort of modern computer technology doesn't do a whole lot for me. But the really old analog computers with the reel-to-reel hard drive storage, well, not even hard drives, with the reel-to-reel storage tapes, the big memory cores that are like the size of a fucking jug of milk instead of RAM, I love that shit. I really love it. My dad used to work in telecommunications for most of his life, and when we first moved to the UK, before we came here, I spent several nights a week with him hanging out in one of the big Energous switchboard rooms, or like the exchange rooms in Kersley, while he was working there. So I really developed an appreciation for great big hulking pieces of computer equipment.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Yeah, unlike today, exactly. Where things are made to last one day past the end of their warranty, and then break in the most annoying way possible. Designed obsolescence is such a curse. And honestly, so wasteful. One thing I can say, if you like old computers, the place to see them is the military, because a lot of military systems still use archaic technology, simply because it's reliable, it's expensive to replace it, and in a lot of cases it's pretty resistant to being fucked with. I'm not sure what I'm looking at there, I think that might be friendly.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
I do need to just brush up on my HUD symbology for this thing. No, that wasn't. That was probably not friendly. Looks like they've got at least one guy running seed in a Harrier, which will be easy prey for me if I can find him. I'll be honest, the reason I was streaming DayZ over the last few days is because I had an overpowering urge to go explore the old Air Force base and the radar station. I just love that stuff. Buffer, why do you make me suffer? Yeah, I get that problem a lot. Quite often if I've just finished streaming, I get buffering issues, so I'll have to be sitting there in 160p. Like it's, you know, 1995. It's really frustrating. Okay, someone up my nose sees me. I think this guy's still cold. So I'm gonna break lock. There's probably another one closer. I think that's him. Getting an EWR secondary, well, primary threat actually out to my left. Okay, he's turning. He might... I think he's actually heading back to land at Kutaisi. Looks like he's in a turn for the airfield. Here we go, here's something a little closer. Get rid of the belly tank since it's empty. Oh, they didn't put one on because I'm a lot lower on fuel than I thought I'd be. I fucked up. I forgot that I did actually need to have the engines off because I needed to have a new belly tank put on, which is technically part of the rearming stage. And it's the rearming specifically that they won't do if your engines are running.
Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 277.
Starting to worry I'm not going to get any fights in. They're all running for home, and I'm running out of fuel. See how far I am from my home base.
Лачи, 120-й, прибой.
If they even reply to me.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Цели не обнаружено.
Clean, huh? I don't believe you. I'm gonna go active. Nose hot. Let's range out to about 80. And we'll look slightly above our nose. There is a SAM site somewhere around here. I think actually I'm about to fly past their EWR. That is Kutaisi over there. That's actually Kutaisi Air Base I'm looking at right now, so I need to not get much closer to that, or I'm going to be in real trouble.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Bit of a freeze. That wasn't very pleasant.
120-й, 300-й. Цели не обнаружено.
Got a friendly off the nose. Yep, that's their airbase down there. So, if that's their airbase, where are they? I'm gonna turn for home because I'm running out of fuel. That's one of the downsides of the MiG-29. You don't really have the endurance of the Su-27. Well, you don't have the endurance at all, to be honest.
набор. Переведи в набор.
Let's see if I can gain some altitude here. Hopefully without getting popped. Just for the fuel economy, and so I can possibly pick up ATC. I think the mountains might be occluding the radio.
Лачи, 120-й. Возврат.
1, 2,
There we
0.
go.
Латиния. Следуйте курсом 096. Удаление 170. Давление 712,48. Посадочный 3,1. Занимайте высоту круга.
150 kilometers. Town is flat, has at least 2 to 3 hills in the lower parts below the flat one. Mine's in a valley. Pretty much smack in the middle of it. Oh, hello. That is a SAM site. That would probably be their EWR. The air defenses around it. I can just remember where exactly it is. It's around here somewhere. I think it's down there. Because I have a bad habit of overflying it all the time. Oh, no, I'm getting short-range SAM threat off my tail, which is interesting, off the right-hand side. Maybe they have a second DWR out here. Don't see anything. Fingers crossed that on my next flight we'll actually see something to shoot at. People keep joining and then leaving. Not sure why.
Лачи, 120-й. Прибой.
1, 2, 0. Латиния. Пеленг. Ваш прибой 9, 5.
So peaceful on here. It's not usually like this, it's usually chaos on this server, especially this area of the map. You're at serious risk of, if not getting shot down, then mid-air collisions, because there's so many aircraft packed into such a tight space. Well, hopefully this time I can make a slightly less embarrassing landing attempt. And remember to put my fuel tank on so I can hang around over here a little longer. And if we don't get any action on the third flight, I might duck out of the server, see what else is going. I kind of want to jump on Burning Skies so I can put the Spitfire to use. I have given in and turned the takeoff assistance up to 50%. I didn't want to, but I think I'm going to have to, at least until I can get some replacement pedals and I can get a bit more used to it. Because even before they broke, my current pedals are just too janky to to get the Spitfire off the ground without smashing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at about 50% and then just slowly wean myself off of it as I get better at handling the aircraft on the ground. In the air, I'm not too concerned. It is different in DCS than it is in previous sims I played. I played a lot of IL-2, 1946. I also played a bit of Cliffs of Dover. And I used to mostly use a force feedback stick when I flew World War II sims, so I was used to having the feel of the aircraft, and I was used to the aircraft struggling against me if I tried to do something it didn't like. Now, I don't have that with the Warthog. I wish it was force feedback, but such is life. So, without the actual feel of the aircraft, I tend to be a bit overzealous in the old Warbirds. So I'm going to have to get used to handling the Spitfire all over again, without the feedback from the aircraft. And also, with the sensitivity of the DCS Spitfire's flight model, which, as far as I'm aware, is realistic. Particularly in pitch, the Spitfire was known to be extremely sensitive in pitch and a bit sluggish in roll, which is how it feels in DCS. So I want to get used to that, get used to flying it again. So I'd like to spend a lot more time doing World War II stuff again. Nearly there, 63 kilometers. This one guy, Viet Cong, this SU-27, I think he's the one that's hanging out near Kutaisi. I think he's just picking them off as they come off the ground. Which is probably hilarious for him, but it's not real fun for the rest of us because there's nothing left. There's nothing left for us to engage. Interesting.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель.
Very interesting. I'm gonna guess that's probably our AWACS.
7000. Сближайтесь.
But for it to call enemy forces near Tbilisi, there must be something down low in the mountains.
Осталось 1500
1,500 kilograms remaining.
Осталось 1500 килограмм.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 281.
So I'm picking up the radar off of our AWACS there.
7000. Дистанция не меняется.
It's also a secondary threat out to my about my 9:30, 10 o'clock out that way. I'll just turn the nose that direction for a moment and see if I can pick anything up. I'll set the radar out to about 80 kilometers and then just slowly wind the distance in. Oh, the SPO has gone dead. There we go.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й.
Someone jamming.
Обнаружена цель. 281. Удаление. 160. На 7000. Дистанция не меняется.
It's showing a very long way away, and I've got no IFF on it. And the electro-optical can't see it either.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 2,
Fair distance away.
удаление 100.
We do have a shoot queue, but that's just because it's jamming us. The fire control system doesn't know what the range is. I know it's more than 25 kilometers. It's probably about 40 at least. Gotta really keep an eye on my fuel now. Let's ask AWACS.
300-й, 120-й. Сообщите босс принадлежность цели.
I need to bind that to a hotkey. I'm not sure it'll work though, because the AWACS probably can't see it. We'll try this one.
200-й.
One's our AWACS, and I think the other one's the EWR.
Принадлежность цели.
120-й.
Mmm.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 2,
If that's him, and I think it is, 130 kilometers is a hell of a long way to go when you're this low on fuel. I don't really have 130 kilometers worth of fuel left. We'll have to come back for him. Unfortunately, I'd like to go kill him, but I just don't have the fuel. Wow, big freeze.
Вращение 120-й. Прибой.
1-2-0. Латиния, пеленг. Ваш прибой 1-1-7.
Looks like the server population is kind of stable at the moment, it's just really low. And this one SU-27 is dominating everybody right now. There we go again.
300-й, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й.
I think he's turned hot. I think that's the same guy. He's turned hot on me because he saw me turn around. So, we're going to want to turn around as quickly as possible on the ground and get back up to deal with him. Such a beautiful plane.
Осталось 800 килограмм.
800 kilograms remaining. Return to base.
Осталось 800 килограмм.
It doesn't actually say return to base, it says like limit of return, so basically Russian for bingo.
1, 2, 0. Работайте с посадкой.
Лачи, 120. Разрешите
I
посадку.
normally don't bother dealing with the ATC, but might as well. Doesn't hurt. Frame rate's chugging a bit. Usually it does around Tbilisi, although actually usually not quite this bad. It's probably because there's so many bloody SAM units placed around here. This server is so heavy-handed with ground units. They are everywhere. Okay, there's the marker. But we're not going to use that. Who needs markers when you have Mark 1 eyeballs?
Один, два, ноль. Латиния. Проверьте выпуск шасси. Ветер у земли 3, 4, 1. Скорость 3 метров в секунду. Посадочный 3, 1.
Off to the left of center line again. What is going on today? Bit bouncy. Mind you, the little micro stutter right at the end there didn't help. I think POM was having issues with that too. It's because of the patch. It's actually worsened the game's performance for most people I know. So, good job, ED. Get rid of the chute, we don't need it anymore. Neutral out trim, put a little bit of back trim on for when I take off again. So I'll do another fly out here, and if I don't manage to kill something on this fly out, I might change things up a little, because it seems that this server is just dead today. Probably Blue's getting frustrated by the fact that one guy has hung around their base killing them the whole time. I'm actually going to
1, 2, 0. Заруливайте на стоянку.
just rearm here. I'm going to be a shitter and block the taxiway because other people do it to me. So, you know, it'll be fine. Just wait for the engines to finish spooling down.
Дозаправка по плану. Перезарядка по плану. Прием.
Okay. Again, I just got to refuel. I've also got to get them to put the belly tank back on, but we've already got missiles, so we don't need those.
Рубеж возврата.
Bring the flaps back up as well. I thought I'd actually already pulled them on. Apparently not. Hello, here's somebody. Big freeze, holy shit. Oh, little bit of a bounce, but not the worst I've seen on here. It's actually interesting seeing someone fly an Su-27 and get that many kills. Most people on here that fly red fly either the Tomcat and do the bullshit spam 6 Phoenixes and turn cold strategy, which really needs to get fixed. And the ones that don't do that mostly fly J11s because they like their R77s. The Su-27, of course, can't carry the R77. It's really the only difference between the Su-27 and the J11 in DCS. They are otherwise identical, except one has a Chinese cockpit and the other one is Russian. Okay, we are good to go. Unfortunately, the MiG-29 has to start engines one at a time, unlike the Su-27, which can start both. So it does take a little longer to start the plane up. It can be a bit frustrating. But hey, it's still quicker to start it up than it is to start up basically any of the American planes. Pretty much all of which require ground-to-air, ground power, or both. Okay, here we go. Just make sure no one's coming. Now this, in real life this is an out of use runway, and it's crossed out as such. In game, I think this is also an out of use runway, but it hasn't got the proper out of use marking, so it's not crossed out like it should be. And it's got threshold markings down that end. This end doesn't, because the taxiway's built over it. So people still use it as a runway. I mean, people do taxiway and parking area takeoffs on here anyway. So you kind of take your life in your hands by using it to taxi on, but I prefer to use the actual runway because it's a lot less ambiguous, and if someone crashes into me, it's harder for them to blame me for it. Also in real life, the surface of these taxiways and runways is nowhere near as good as this. It's very broken up. Which I kind of wish they'd do for the in-game textures. It would certainly add a lot of character to the airfields that they lack. little tufts of grass growing between the pavement. DCS again, yep. It's still causing me issues with this wonderfully broken patch that ED foisted upon us, but it is at least somewhat playable if I'm on a low population server. Unfortunately, at the moment, the low population combined with one of our Su-27s basically sniping guys off the runway at Kutaisi means I haven't seen a single target yet. Actually, I lie, I've seen a couple, but I haven't been within firing range of any without being forced defensive, so I haven't got a single shot off yet. MiG-29. The MiG-29S. And you can tell the S apart from the A because the S has a slight hunchback. The fuselage is a bit bigger. Doesn't blend into the wings as smoothly. Yeah, I really wish we had more full fidelity red stuff. I still enjoy flying the MiG-29, but yeah, the lack of full fidelity does make it hard at times. I'm really, really dying for the MiG-23. When that comes out, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to just fly that thing non-stop for at least a couple of weeks. Flaps and gear are up. Hello, what are you? Friendly. Should I get the Christen Eagle 2 or the AK-52? I have not flown either, so to be honest I couldn't tell you. Probably for formation stuff I'd say the AK-52. It's a bit more tame, and you can fly with a friend in that. I'm pretty sure that's configured for multi-seat. Whereas the Christen Eagle is definitely more of a high-performance stunt plane. It has better visibility out of the cockpit. It's got that nice bubble canopy on it, but with the biplane wings and the flight performance, you might want to go with the Yak if you do formation flying. And I was not paying attention to AWACS at all there. 275 for 230. Oh, that's miles away. Alright, we're gonna try something a bit different. We're gonna go up high, because I'm sick of not finding anything. We're also gonna go active. So, nose hot. That's friendly. Peg next. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. If you want to do the stunt stuff as well, then yeah, probably the Christen Eagle, but if it's... I guess if it's cheaper as well, you may as well, to be honest. Actually, does the Christen Eagle have backseater? Like, does it have two-seat compatibility? I know it has two seats, I just don't know if it's multiplayer compatible with two seats. I'm pretty sure the AK-52 is, but I don't know about the Christen Eagle. Yep, MiG-29.
120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120. 300. Обнаружена цель. 279. Удаление 180 на 500. Сближайтесь.
Трехсотый. 120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120. 300. Обнаружена цель. 276. Удаление 150 на 500. Сближайтесь.
Been getting to the Mi-8 a lot lately. I still haven't flown any helicopters in this. I really want someone to make an Mi-2 module, and I think the Mi-2 would be ideal for like a kind of high fidelity free module, kind of like the TF-51, just to get people into helicopters who might not otherwise buy one. Now, I already have a helicopter module which someone else bought for me, but I haven't flown it because I'm scared of helicopters. But, you know, I think there's a lot of people out there who are more fixed-wing people that if you gave them something like a little Mi-2 to fly around, they might look at buying something like the Mi-8 or the Huey or the KA-50 or the Hind when it comes out, which I'm really looking forward to. Of course, ED have a lot of things to do before they think about making an Mi-2, including fixing the fucking game. So, you know, pretty far down the list of priorities. Okay, so I'm contrailing. No big surprise. You guys heard about the Persian Gulf incident? What, the fact that America's trying to pull some Gulf of Tonkin bullshit again? Yeah, it's fucking stupid. No one's falling for it.
300. 120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120. 300. Обнаружена цель. 281. Удаление 90 на 500. Сближайтесь.
Gonna guess that's another friendly. Yeah, I'd be interested to find out. I mean, it's not like it's the most stable part of the world, and it's not like it's the safest part either. I mean, it's not just the Iranians in that area. You get pirates in there occasionally. You've got all the other Middle Eastern states, most of which are extremely unstable. You've got the fact that the US will do anything to find an excuse. It's been looking for an excuse for over 20 years. They will do whatever it takes.
300.
You just think that they'd make up a new one instead of recycling the same one they used for Vietnam, which nobody believed even back then.
300. Обнаружена цель. 277.
Actually, I'm probably wrong. I'm sure people did believe it back then, but they sure as shit know better now.
Станция не меняется.
77 for 190. Okay, so I got a friendly under me, off my nose. He's probably what popped the last contact I had called out, because that's now vanished. Today I'm going to the airport because of a flight show where they'll be flying planes and show them off. Also, there'll be F-35s flying. Nice! I have not seen an F-35 in person yet. Or an F-22 for that matter. I've seen a lot of other stuff. I grew up in the UK and we used to go to air shows all the time. Go to Duxford every other weekend, just about. But I've been to 3 air shows in Australia. I went to Scone one year, and then I've been to the one here at Bathurst twice. But I really want to get down to Temora, and I'd love to go to Avalon, but it's a bit far to travel. I'm hoping to pay a visit to Temora this year, maybe. Suspect the Saudis? Yeah, probably. It wouldn't surprise me. Especially if they can try and pin it on Iran. Because Iran is really the only regional threat to them. And they also know that the US wants an excuse, and the US will protect them from anything and everything, including, you know, people blowing the lid on what they actually do. Okay, we're getting pretty close to Kutaisi here, and I'm not seeing anything on the radar. I am, however, being locked by their air defense. 5 to 60. Radar's not picking him up. It's picking up this friendly, but it's not picking him up. And those SAMs are going to start shooting pretty soon. There's gotta be some. Oh! Hang on, we had something. I've gotta be real careful. I'm flying into their air defense envelope here. Get rid of this belly tank. It's coming from over that way. I probably do need to rebind my countermeasures so I can alternate between chaff and flare. At the moment, I've just got them set to a single release button. I've got to figure out what control would be most convenient for them. I think I'm outrunning the missile. That should be good. We'll loop back around through this valley. I need to get better at reading the SPO-15 as well. It does give you some information about incoming missiles, but it takes some patience to read. Now, it looks like either someone else got that guy or he trashed my missiles, so we're going to head up again. Yeah, see, I've got, I was thinking of setting them to the China hat, but I've got that set up for my radar and electro-optical on and off switches at the moment, so It might not be ideal. I had something, but I lost him.
120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120.
287 for 24.
Обнаружена цель. 287. Удаление 24. На 0. Дистанция не меняется.
He's probably going to trash both of those. Drive them into the mountain or something.
Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор.
Трехсотый. 120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120. 300. Обнаружена цель.
Переведи в набор.
1.
Переведи в набор.
Удаление
Переведи в
24.
набор.
На
Переведи
500.
в набор.
Сближайтесь.
Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор.
There's two R73s. Better make them count.
Ближайшую цель.
Oh, do not lag.
20.
Worst time for it.
Обнаружена цель. 3.
Oh, I see him.
9. Удаление 11. На 2000. Дистанция не меняется.
Please hit, please hit, please hit.
Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в
Oh
набор.
shit, now we're in trouble.
Трехсотый. 120. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
I've lost sight.
20.
Oh, here we go.
Цели не обнаружено.
Lost him again.
Переведи в набор.
Something behind
Переведи
me.
в набор.
That might be him.
Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор.
Трехсотый. 120.
I think one of my teammates just bailed me out.
Переведи в набор.
120. 300.
Pretty sure one of my teammates just bailed me out. Yep. Oh, thank God for that. See you later, fella. Right, we are RTB.
Вращение. 120. Возврат.
1, 2, 0. Вращение. Следуйте курсом 094. Удаление 200. Давление 712,4,8.
About to get drunk as fucking go live? Oh jeez.
Занимайте высоту круга.
Oh jeez. Actually, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. I think I've only got one bottle of beer left in the house though, and I can't afford to go down the bottler. Poor life. What was that heading? I wasn't even listening. Whatever, we'll go this general direction. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's a SAM site. Probably the one at Kutaisi. So I have no kills to show for all 6 of my missiles. Unfortunately, once that F-15 got in close, he knew what I was going to do, and so he was pre-flaring the whole time. Both R-73s immediately went for a flare. That is the occupational hazard of using R-73s. They dive on flares like you would not believe. Bot didn't announce. Yeah, the bot is a bit spotty at the moment. I think Twitch updated a couple days ago, and like my bot hasn't caught up, basically. I tried updating the bot before I went live, and it didn't find any updates, so who knows. Twitch have been doing a lot of tweaking with their back-end for the last few days, as far as I can tell. Like, chat's been broken Twitch-wide a couple times. Various other things have been breaking in weird and wonderful ways, so it might be a few days before it settles and stuff starts working again. R73 should be pretty decent at flare resistance. Yeah, DCS and missiles, as we know already, don't get along very well. Aside from the missiles not navigating properly, not tracking properly, they also have some kind of bizarre behavior when it comes to countermeasures. Not sure that's how that works, Dero. Oh shit, hello. Fuck, I wish I did have some missiles left now. I'd say that is probably friendly, and that is probably not. He looks like he's trying to intercept that guy. That might be the flanker that bailed me out. He's the guy that's been hanging around Kutaisi, sniping them as they come off the ground. So I would say they're getting pretty pissed off about that and want to do something about him. He better haul ass, because that guy's catching him. As long as he leaves me alone. Don't notice me, senpai. Oh god, he's coming this way. Oh, please. Please don't notice me. Oh, he really is coming this way. I don't have the fuel for this. In before Soviet means quality poster? What, you mean that one? Oh no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. This is not okay. This is absolutely not okay. I mean, I can outrun him, but I don't have the fuel to do it. Fuck.
Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор. Переведи в набор.
Controls are getting a bit heavy down here. Alright, I think I'm out of the woods for now. I can come off the power again. I hope. I really hope. Because I just do not have the fuel to be running away from that guy. Not like that.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 301. Удаление 130 на 6000. Сближайтесь.
Вращение. 120-й. Прибой.
1-2-0. Лачение. Пелинг. Ваш прибой.
Oh, I'm going the exact right direction at least. Well, that's the thing, Dibbo. Like, because of their entire doctrine, the systems don't need to be better. Like, people try and compare aircraft like they're meant to operate in the exact same environment. They're not. Like, the reason why Soviet aircraft tended to have fairly poor radar is because the radar was simply fire control for the missiles. It wasn't to find a target, it was fire control. The target would be found by the GCI. The GCI would steer the aircraft onto the target. In the case of several PVO interceptor types, that would actually be done from the ground. The pilot could fly hands off, basically, and let the aircraft be flown from the ground by the GCI. All he was there to do was to fly the intercept, you know, get in close, figure out what the target was, and if necessary, pull the trigger. Which technically, I think the GCI could also do, but they weren't allowed to for reasons that should be fairly obvious. Tu-128, yeah, it's kind of a meme. It's from that weird period in Soviet aviation where they were still kind of figuring out the whole long-range interceptor thing. There were a lot of very strange aircraft in the Soviet Union in the early jet age, but they kind of got their act together later on. See, this makes perfect sense to me, and I think I figured out why. I think I figured out where that comes from. I have spent so much time, like, I'm a real World War II kind of person, especially the Battle of Britain was like an obsession of mine for most of my life. And so, having a ground controller vector me onto a target is natural to me. I'm used to having no degree of control over the engagement myself and just being told what to do. So, because the Soviets basically took the doubting system and ran with it to its extreme, that's why I think the Soviet way of doing things makes more sense to me. You've got to remember, though, their doctrine was mostly centered air-wise. Ground-wise, it was different, but air-wise, their doctrine was centered around home defense. They were mostly concerned about keeping their own airspace safe, and so that was what they developed towards. They developed a highly integrated, complex air defense network, and they based their entire doctrine around that. Whereas the NATO countries, the US in particular, yeah, they had their own air defense network, but they spent a lot of time flying over other people's airspace, so they ended up developing into a sort of more fluid doctrine with better sensor systems and more initiative given to pilots, which makes sense if you're flying over somebody else's airspace. But when you're flying over your home turf and you are, you know, there's something coming in and you don't know what it is and it needs to be dealt with, the Soviet way of doing things makes sense. And it worked, you know, it had some hiccups, but it worked fairly well at what it was intended to do. It certainly worked for the North Vietnamese as well. MiG-21 would be nice. Probably never going to happen, though. '23 is still my baby. I still really want the... Jesus, Pom! Thanks for gifting that sub, man. Holy fuck. That's, I think that's quite a few beers you just bought me there. Might have to do a dash across the road to Uncle Dan's. Well, it's a bit late to do it tonight. I might do it tomorrow. Alright, that is Vaziani off the nose. We're going to come in left to the international airport. I do find it interesting where they place the air brake on the MiG-29. Because it is very limited, it gets blanked out by the belly tank and the landing gear. Whereas Sukhoi and also McDonnell Douglas always, well, on their later aircraft, put it towards the dorsal part of the airframe. Sorry, I'm trying to unfuck this approach. I don't think it's going to work. I've come in too fast again. Gonna burst my tyres if I touch down at this speed. There we go. Very long landing. I came in way too fast on that approach. I was too busy talking, not busy enough flying. Oh, and really? My guy, you just saw me land. He's not gonna go around. Oh my god. What are you doing?
Один.
Huge bounce as well. Fucking hell. Whoop, shit. Didn't even see him. Welcome to Tbilisi Airport on Growling Sidewinder's PvP server, where you take your life in your hands by moving from your spawn point. And in fact, even spawning at this airfield, you take your life in your hands. Because odds are pretty good someone's going to taxi right into you, or try and take off on the parking area and hit you. Since we did actually get some missiles off there, even though we didn't get a kill, I might head up again. Just refuel and rearm. At least now people are joining, and we have a target-rich environment again.
Заправка по плану. Перезарядка по плану. Прием.
Okay, let's catch up on chat now that I'm on the ground. A lot of the problem is that their electronics weren't as advanced, not necessarily to do about their thinking. Well, to an extent. In some areas their electronics weren't as advanced, in other areas they were. It's kind of weird. Like, a lot of their computer systems were quite chunky and outdated, but they branched out in certain areas of electronics that the US didn't. They also were operating with a conscript military. Now, obviously pilots are going to be better trained and they usually pick volunteers to be fighter pilots, but all the same, they had a very large military. They didn't have as much time or money for each pilot as far as training goes as a smaller Air Force would, so having aircraft that are simple to fly, simple to operate, and having the pilot need to spend as little time thinking about strategy in the air as possible was definitely something that I could see appealing to them for those reasons. FaceOne Japanese streamer has 11 non-Japanese viewers and 1 speaking viewer while providing good chat engagement. Oh, thank you. Reason why it's always kind of confused me is their land doctrine was so offensive based but with no real air support because they focused on home defense. Yeah, but you've also got to remember that they had a lot of defense which NATO did not have, especially the Americans just flat out did not have. Soviet air defense, as far as the ground forces go, the ground element of the PVO was really heavily equipped. They had a lot of very good systems. Not necessarily the most advanced, but certainly reliable and have proven that they work repeatedly. So I think to that extent they thought that they could keep the Air Force more for home defense and in reserve and for strategic missions, whereas the tactical air support would be carried out by things like helicopters. To some extent frontal aviation like the Su-25, MiG-23BN, MiG-27, maybe with some fighter cover, but for the most part, it was just too expensive for them to be wanting to waste aircraft against often more advanced American aircraft, of which there were left, but you know they were very there were less words, but they were very capable. And you don't want to go into a massive stoush in the air with a bunch of F-15s and have no planes left when the Americans start sending their attack aircraft out. If you go to, I'd be lucky to get one beer for $5. Yeah, I think the going rate at my old local is like 6 now. It's ridiculous. But hey, instead of taxing the wealthy, let's just pile higher and higher taxes onto beer. Let's not tax champagne, by the way. Let's just tax beer, because that's what the poors drink. More in the sense that the European plan was Rush B, but the Allies in World War II kind of showed how important it was to fuck up the enemy supply lines. The main reason I find it weird is a fast thrust into Europe would kind of have to be halted if they didn't have the air and wait for the radar units to move up to keep control. Well, that's the thing. They had, like, most of the Soviet air defense on the ground was mobile. They specifically built it to be mobile to keep up with their forces. Like, they had a very highly integrated air defense system, which other NATO partners had to an extent, but the Americans didn't have anything to match. Like, we all know what happened with the Sergeant York. That was the Americans' attempt to build something like a Shilka. And it was an absolute fucking train wreck. Tried streaming DCS last year and got nowhere. This year it's because of people like you. I managed 359 followers. Hey man, we gotta look out for each other. We've got a small community here, but we got a good community. I mean, I was getting nowhere with streaming until Tawny dumped a raid on me one day, so I'm just paying it forwards, man. SU-22? 17, the 22 was the export, but yeah, I want an SU-17. It would go really well with the MiG-21. Yeah, it does seem like it was the inspiration behind that. Hide your ventilation fans. Damper's still warming up. Gotta go be social. Oh, good luck, man. Good luck. Stay strong. Thanks for stopping by. I will catch you around. Yeah, I do love the slew of good ideas that appeared during the Cold War of systems with no human in the loop. What a brilliant idea that turned out to be. In fact, although information on it's very scarce to the point where a lot of people can't even agree whether it really existed or not, but from what I have read, the perimeter missile defense system, well, not missile defense system, but like the basically the dead hand switch for the Soviet strategic rocket forces was apparently a dude in a bunker, as opposed to an automated system. The automated system would tell the dude in the bunker, hey, there's probably a nuclear war going on, you should push the button. And then it was ultimately up to him to figure out whether to push it or not. Because, as was proven numerous times through the Cold War, you cannot trust a computer no matter how good you think it is. And that's still true today. It's as true as it ever was. The various fuck-ups and whoopsies with machine learning algorithms that we have these days certainly proves that that has not changed in the past 50 years. Brilliant. Brilliant. That's some absolute five-head thinking right there. Just make sure my trim's set properly. I must have missed a memo over the past few days because now everyone's using the other end of this runway. Like, it's been 3-1 left at this airfield for months, and then Ralphie made a video where he landed on the other end and suddenly everyone's doing it.
Подавление 712,48.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 272. Удаление 130 на 5000. Сближайтесь.
Трехсотый, 120-й. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Oh boy, Pom, you know what to do. If the next sentence is what I think it's gonna be... Yep, there we go. Pull the trigger, Piglet. Fucking bots. Unfortunately, my chatbot being unserviceable at the moment is hampering my ability to test something. I put a bunch of common phrases those advertising bots use in the word filter and made it an insta-ban. And it's stuff that shouldn't catch honest people in chat, but it should catch the bots, because they, like, you can tell it's machine translated, and it's done in a very specific way, and they all use the same template. So I don't know if that's working yet. We'll have to wait until the chatbot itself is working to find out, I guess. Hello. 287 to 70, eh? He knows I'm here. Oh, there's two.
Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
120-й, 300-й. Обнаружена цель. 302. Удаление 50 на 500. Дистанция не меняется.
It's gonna keep dumping me back to search because those guys are jamming. Let's pick up a little bit of altitude. Okay, he's hot. We're gonna dump the bag. Have that, and you can have that as well. Ow! God damn it. I didn't have as much time as I thought I had. Oh, I got killed by Pornhub Star. Damn. I don't think either of mine were tracking. And I don't think the, let's see what wonders we see on the F6 view today. Will we get a view of Earth from space? No. We'll get a view of the edge of the map, apparently. Oh, here we go. Someone just got hit by something. That was the guy that killed me. He just got nailed by a J11. Well, I'm not having a whole lot of success here in the MiG-29 today, unfortunately. No kills, and we've just been shot down for the first time. Kind of feel like changing it up. Let's do a meme, and then we'll do maybe some World War II stuff. Pom knows what meme we're gonna do. Wait, hang on. I don't want Beslan. I want Tbilisi. If I can find the slots for it. There we go. He knows. Oh my god, the load time. Oh my lord. DCS, please. Can we unfreeze now? This is what the patch has done to me. These textures would have loaded in like 10 seconds before and the game wouldn't freeze while doing it. Now the game freezes for like a minute or two while it loads textures. Okay. Oh, come on, DCS. Right. Are we good now? No, we're not good now. We're frozen again. Okay, now we're good. Texture to load. Oh, wrong pod. I'm so used to putting that on. That's not what we're putting on. We're putting that on. And we'll go with R13 M1s. What the fuck? Okay, well that was interesting. Still freezing. There we go. I have no idea what that says. I can't read Hangul. What's that pod? That is the Go Fast pod. As soon as it puts it on. Oh wow, they paint the landing gear base yellow? That's interesting. Not actually a bad idea, I guess. You can see if the doors are down far away.
Incomplete.
Yeah, we got the Go Fast pods, which I have used once with... I'm not going to call it success, because it wasn't. It was a disaster. Unmitigated disaster. Oh, this freezing. Jesus. We're not going to bother with the RSBN. Just turn it all the way down. It's probably not even going to pick up a signal, to be honest. I just really cannot be bothered. Actually, I might need it for when I RTB. Yeah, I probably should set it. Lisi Lacini is 12. Yeah, I guess we'll use it after all. What's the arc sector here? Sector 315. It's not even for here, but it's close-ish. Oh god. Oh jeez. Alrighty. Hang on, these... I can't remember, do these automatically engage when you go into Afterburner? Because I might want to turn the switches off. I might just do a mill power takeoff, just in case. I cannot for the life of me remember what channel the AWACS is on here. .321 megahertz, 225 and 321. 225, 321. Do I even have that in my presets? No, of course I fucking don't. Whatever. Is this guy gonna come onto the taxiway, or is he just gonna sit in the way? Probably gonna sit in the way, let's be real. This is gonna end terribly. Absolutely terribly. It should be pretty funny though. So yeah, mill power takeoff in the MiG-21. I have literally never done one. I always take off with Afterburner, so this could be interesting. Just because I think these automatically engage with the Afterburners on, and I think that the switches are bugged out at the moment, so even if the power to them is off, they will still go. Same with the countermeasures, which are on the same power circuit. Rudder's getting really mushy. See how long the takeoff run is with no afterburner? Holy shit. I hope I got enough runway for this. That was a slight tail scrape. Oh no, we're stalling. Fuck it. Yeet. Flaps are up, gears up. Fuck, that was scary. Yeah, so no afterburner takeoffs in the MiG-21. Terrifying. But I don't think the rockets have actually gone off, which is good. Okay, we're going to put the damper on. Just check. They're still attached, so they haven't burnt out. Now we can switch them on. Oh, shit! Oops! Oh, I guess we're a rocket plane now. Oh, they've already burnt out. I don't know, man. I don't know about these things. They seem kind of shitty. I have no idea what channel I need to be on for the AWACS, or if I can even talk to it. There we go. 239 for 45. Nice. Fuck you, I need to know more. 235 for 35. He's behind this ridge. Big lag spike. This guy gets shot down or something? Or is he just invisible to AWACS? Get rid of the belly tank, it's empty. I would not have a clue about the lantern. I've still not used it. Pop-up route, like I care what's going on 195 miles away, or whatever it was, or kilometers.
300-й. 1-1. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
Seven for 60. Find that ridge line. Can't wait for the new cockpit on this. It's going to be awesome. I'll definitely be getting back into the MiG-21 big time when that new cockpit comes out. I mean, this cockpit's good, but it's missing a few features and some things don't work properly, and the night illumination's not that great. The overhaul sounds like it's going to be pretty all-inclusive.
300-й. 1-1. Дайте курс на ближайшую цель.
That might be the guy I was getting vectored onto. Contrail right there. Oh, hello! What are you? Oh, do not freeze, DCS, for fuck's sake! What is that? Smoky. It almost looks like a Tomcat. Oh my... DCS, you piece of shit! Connection lost. Or I'm gonna crash. Oh my god, this patch! This fucking patch! It crashed me into the ground while it was frozen. Thanks, Eagle Dynamics. Great patch. Brilliant. The radar pods fired as soon as I turned them on anyway, so they were already gone, but... I think that was a Tomcat. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I couldn't get a good enough look because the fucking game froze. Let's try once again. And then we'll go do some World War II stuff, maybe. If DCS decides it's going to behave. If it's going to be like this, I might just go play something else because I don't want to deal with this crap. Look at the freezing! Look at this! The textures are already loaded. Why is it freezing? This is, out of all the patches that they've released since I started playing DCS last year, this is the worst patch. This one has actually made the game basically unplayable. Like, I can only pretty much play 1v1 servers without running into problems like this. It's really infuriating. It's still freezing. Fucking hell. Oops, no, I want the 800.
Request rearming.
Copy.
I really, really wish that they would, like, I know that we're on the closed, or not the open beta, but, like, this is, like, pre-alpha levels of brokenness. You at least want to run some basic quality assurance on a patch before you drop it, even on the open beta client. This is just ridiculous.
Rearming complete.
Absolutely fucking ridiculous. What was that? Oh, that's the reset. I couldn't tell what that was. It looked like it might have been a Tomcat, but it could also have been an F-15, and if it was an F-15, I would have had a chance to kill him, and I'm pretty angry that I got flown into the ground instead because of shitty fucking patch freezes. Never had issues like that before this patch. Not once. Actually, I want these off. It's a contemporary, but I wouldn't say it's matched in terms of capability, because even the MiG-21 BIS, which is the 1972 production model that we have here, even this has no BVR whatsoever. The MiG-23 was more like a parallel to the Phantom, but it was obviously after the Phantom. MiG-23's first flight, I think, was 67, and it entered service in 1970, so it was kinda late. I really can't wait for the 23. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, those are off. So, apparently as soon as I switch those on, having used the afterburner, because it's glitched out, like... the way that they've made the radar pods work in this seems like it's something they did for the sake of making it easier to play, but I don't like it because it gives me less control over them. And honestly, even if realism is inconvenient in DCS, I'd rather have it. So things like, I have the moving pipper when you lock someone turned off, but I wouldn't have fretted if that wasn't even a feature. There's a couple other abstractions like that, which they made, which I'm really not a fan of. Oh, there's the freezing again. It's probably because the server's filling up. Brilliant patch, ED. Brilliant. Fucking top marks. Considering I've even had people in chat comment on it and like, oh, well, I'm not going to play if that's how the game performs. Well, I don't fucking blame them. I do not fucking blame them. I said Ratopod. Oh, no, 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 oh, what are you doing? Why? Why are you like this? Why the fuck are you like this? And the game freezes because I flew past a Tomcat. Well, because I rolled past it. I'm gonna die. It's because, look at that, it switched LODs on the Tomcat and it froze me. Oh my god, I barely made that. Yep, great patch, ED. Give the memory leak back, please. I would rather deal with the memory leak than this. And frozen again. Frozen again. And, oh god, yep, into the trees. If there's anyone watching at the moment that doesn't have DCS, don't bother picking it up until they fix whatever they've broken in this patch. Like, it's a good game usually, but holy fuck is it unplayable at the moment. Because ED don't know how to test something before they release it. Right. Why is this thing flying so slowly? Ah! Oh, no, the gear is up, okay. I guess it's just because the pods are really draggy, maybe. I like it. I don't know why, I just like it. It is so draggy with these pods, it's not even funny. See, I find the AIM-9 tone kind of grating, especially when it actually finds a heat source and starts squealing. Holy fuck. Okay, well we know what's going on there. 261 for 70. That's probably where all those Phoenixes are going. Got a friendly on the radar up ahead. Can't see him though. I think he's above me. Well, he would have to be above me, yeah. He's up there somewhere. .272 for 40. Right. Know what time it is? Oh, speed! Oh man! I think they're burnt out now. Yep, we'll get rid of them. There's something in here with us. It's down here somewhere. .6 for 17. There he is. Faded over the hill, or over the mountain rather. Can't see him. There's another one locking me. I just got hit. Oh, she don't like that. I think someone got him though. Lost the engine. They finally fixed that at least. The jettison buttons work again. Oh my god, if this works, it will be an absolute meme. No. Ah. Oh Jesus. Oh no. Oh god. Oh no. It's terrible, please help. Okay, well, kind of over that. That's also why I don't fly the MiG-21 on this server. There's just, against the modern stuff, I have no situational awareness at all. Literally none. Hadwell can do it, but Hadwell is kind of nuts and likes to take out RS-2s to fire at people on PvP servers against 4th gen jets. So yeah, we'll leave that to him. Now, let's see. Burning skies up. No. Okay. RF662. Those guys used to run a IL-2 server I used to play on years and years ago, but it looks like none of the other World War II servers are up or populated or have acceptable pings, which kind of sucks. And I don't have Normandy. Bummer. Well, we might just do... Let's see. I want to see if, like, what effect the takeoff assistance thing has had on Spitfire, so we're going to test it here. What are RS-2s? They're, like, absolute... Not even first gen, they're, like, fucking Gen 0 Soviet air-to-air missiles. They're beam riding. Like, they're basically... That's what they turned into the Grom. They took that missile and just bolted a big warhead to the front of it. It's a beam-riding air-to-air missile. They are absolutely useless. They're fucking terrible. They're designed to be shot at bombers from very close range. And even then, good luck hitting something with them. But because of the way that things have been simplified in DCS, they actually behave like semi-active missiles at the moment, I think. They're a lot better than they should be, put it that way. Like, yeah, no. They shouldn't be really useful at all against fighters, but I've seen Hadwell kill people with them. Like maneuvering targets, which shouldn't be possible. Okay, it's going to take a while to load. We're also now at the point where DCS freezes everything else on my PC while it's loading, which it didn't used to do. So again, thanks for the brilliant patch there, Eagle Dynamics. Brilliant work. Imagine actually trying to play a game. So I might just fly on this for a little while. And then switch games, or maybe take a break or something, because DCS is doing my head in again. This is why I didn't stream DCS for like the better part of a week, because it has been more or less unplayable for the better part of a week. I think DCS is actually frozen. We'll give it a minute, but I think it's frozen. When the Corsair comes out, I'll do some World War II style dogfights. Fuck yeah. I really should start playing IL-2 again. I have not played the new IL-2. Like, I pre-ordered it when it was still in development. I've never played it. I just never got around to it. One day, the tanks in that look really good, actually. Like, they look really good. Still frozen on a loading screen. Way to go, DCS. Okay, it is doing something at least. It's just taking forever to do it. Shouldn't be taking this long. I do wonder if this is maybe because I moved my save files, perhaps, because it's on the same drive as DCS now, which is not an SSD. So maybe it's bottlenecking it really badly, but I mean, I was having performance issues with it before I did that due to the patch anyway, so it probably isn't that. But I don't imagine it's helping though. Having to rely on OBS to see if the game's actually loading, because on my screen it's frozen. There we go. Oh, about time. Okay, we'll get rid of the pilot body because it is in the way a bit. We'll zoom our view way back here and get the head position all the way back. Reset my track IR. Gotta separate my throttles apart. Auto start. We ain't doing no auto start. I just gotta remember what I'm doing here. Get the electrical system on. Brake. Okay, I can't remember what a lot of these are. I think that's my emergency oxygen or something. I forget what that is. Oh, de-icing system. See, I need to get the no mip-map cockpit textures because guess what? For some reason, if you have your graphics set to anything other than the highest possible setting, it uses the shittiest low-quality cockpit textures it can. It's infuriating. Okay, I think that needs to be... Let me just check. Carb air filter control. No, we'll leave it back. I think there's a mixture. Mixture's rich, I think, to start with. We'll go right ahead with the prop pitch. We'll get rid of the trim because I don't want that much nose up trim on takeoff. That is going to be very unpleasant. Okay. Fuel cock on. That should do us for the main primer. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the low pressure lights out. Magneto is on. Pop covers on the booster coil and the starter, and then crack the throttle. Actually, I think this needs to be back and then it goes forward. I can't remember. It's one of the two. There we go. Bring my view up slightly as well. Let the engine warm up for a bit. What a beauty. So, the Spitfire Mark 9 in DCS is modelled off of the early production Mark 9s, most of which were converted from Mark 5 airframes. And the way you can tell an early production or converted Mark 9 from a late production Mark 9, well, not late, but main production run, is the shape of the tail. So, on the early Mark 9, you've got this rounded off tail with the sort of round rudder that you have on the earlier Mark Spitfires. On the production Mark 9s, the rudder's pointed at the top and then kind of comes out in a triangle shape towards the rear, so it's got a bigger rudder on it. Some of the really early Mark 9 conversions also have smaller intakes because they don't have the filter system that the production Mark 9s have. But that's how you can tell them apart. And then you can tell the Mark 9 apart, well, a late production Mark 9 apart from a Mark 16, because the Mark 16 usually has leading edge fuel tanks, whereas the Mark 9 doesn't. You don't go play? Alright man, catch you later. Thanks for the raid, and thanks for the bits. And the gifted subs, and the G's, everything. I will probably drop in and see you once I'm done flying. Okay, we'll get rid of the brake. See, I wish that the 6 DOF limits were different when the canopy's open, because in other sims, you can hang your head out the cockpit and it's a fucking lifesaver when you're taxiing. And she's still all over the place, so I don't have much faith in my ability to get off the ground here. Again, I am working with broken rudder pedals, so I don't have the greatest degree of control over the aircraft at the moment. Oh, she wants to go on the grass. Why are you turning that way now? Look. Right, this is going to be a mess. No, stop going. I've been told this is about where I want the rudder trim, but I don't know if that's true or not. Oh, this is going to be very ugly. Very, very ugly. Probably going to crash, but we'll try it. when you forget to actually put the power on because you're so focused on trying to stay on the runway. Well, we're in the air. Back to 2650 RPM. And just got to work on trim now. Like most World War II single-engine aircraft, the Spitfire has no aileron trim. Trimming for roll was done at the factory with a giant tuning fork and a sledgehammer. They physically bent the trailing edge of the aileron up on one wing and down on the other. Even now, with much more standardization in production, no two aircraft fly quite the same, but in World War II it was even more obvious. So you can imagine why pilots would get attached to their particular bird. Okay, give us some... some more nose up, that should be about right for trim. Hey, we're flying! Got to recenter my track R, got a little discombobulated there. Let's go find something to strafe. Let's find a train. Is that on? No, I just turned it off. Genius. There we go. Where's the nearest railway line? Is that one there? Oh, there's a train right under us. I think it's a passenger train. Let's, there's another one over there. I want to fly along this one. I want to see what kind of train it is, actually. Oh jeez, there's trains everywhere. There you go. It's an electric train, and then we got this in front of it. Let's take a pop at that front train. Combat power, 3000 RPM. So for those unfamiliar with these old prop planes, the RPM, the prop pitch, controls that, and that controls how much the prop is biting into the air, how hard it's pulling, and the actual boost, the engine boost, is how much power the engine's outputting. So you've got to kind of work both. The aircraft cruises better at high boost, low RPM. Your standard kind of cruising RPM setting in the Spitfire is 2650 for the Merlin. And the Spitfire Mark 9 has a constant speed propeller. So you can manually set a particular RPM setting you want, and the propeller will maintain that until you change it. So come off the RPM a little. Something I've noticed is I don't think the actual train carriages and freight cars are damageable, at least not by the Spitfire's guns. I've strafed a few and it never seems to do anything to them. It only seems to be the locomotives you can destroy. But I could be wrong. So we'll come in for another pass here. Probably be better off coming along the train line, but we'll come in from this angle here. Put the revs back on so we got some power to pull out once we strafe it. That get it? Oh yeah, it destroyed it. They're just a bit solidly built. And the other train is magically phasing through it because DCS. Yep, so we got that tanker car. Let's go see what else we can find. Now, the Spitfire does have a sunshade, but in DCS, the thing is fucking opaque. Like, you straight up cannot see through it. They've overdone it. I've noticed that happened with a lot of aircraft. They either have a useless sunshade that doesn't block any glare at all, or they have one which is completely opaque and you can't see through the sight. So we'll get rid of that, we don't want it. Another problem in DCS is because refraction through this armoured glass windscreen isn't modelled properly, the gun sight sits really low over the nose. So the Spitfire historically did have issues with being able to take deflection shots over the nose because it is so long, but it's exacerbated in DCS by the fact that there's no refraction coming through that windscreen. So normally you'd actually see slightly above the nose instead of directly over it, because it's set back on quite a steep angle and it's very thick. It's like an inch thick or something. Just laminated glass. Buses and trucks and things down there. Is it just me, or is that train moving again? Or is that another one? It might be another one. They must respawn pretty quickly. I'll have you. So, when you're at high RPM, so you've got the prop set to coarse pitch, it's much more responsive to changes in power. If you're set to fine pitch, like you're cruising, and you suddenly add or reduce power, the aircraft takes a while to respond. So it's not just useful for speeding up, it's actually what you need to slow down as well. Got him! because there is no aileron trim, I've got to hold the stick slightly to the right, which does get a bit irritating. If I had like a full-blown desk mount with the stick set up between my legs, like an actual fighter stick, I'd probably just be using my leg to hold it over, which I assume is what the pilots did in real life. Because obviously you would have to trim the ailerons for a certain airspeed, but because they're, you know, there's no actual way to set the trim other than bash on the trailing edge of them. You'd have to alter your stick position as you change power settings and change airspeed. Not even sure where I am, to be honest. I think that's Beslan I was flying from, so if I head this way maybe. How's my fuel looking? That only displays for the bottom tank, which is still full. There's two tanks, there's an 80-gallon top tank, and then the bottom tank I can't remember what's... Or actually, the top tank might be 85 gallons. I can't remember what size the bottom tank is. Or it's 85 total. Whatever, there's two of them. So the top one is... If I just go to the external view. The top one is that square thing you can see from the cockpit. Kind of a dome-shaped tank, and the other one sits below it. What a beautiful sight and sound. Tell you what. How's that? Alright. Let's see if I can find somewhere to land. Of course, one of the nice things about the Spitfire is being a World War II aircraft, it was mostly flown from grass strips, so in DCS it is very tolerant of landing on grass strips. I don't know if I'd landed in a field with the gear down, that might be a little too risky, but it certainly tolerates running across the airfield grass a lot better than any of the modern planes do. While I'm at it, let's have a word about the cockpit layout. So, unlike, certainly unlike the Americans, but unlike most countries involved in World War II, the British actually standardized the cockpit layout. This blind flying panel was identical across any RAF aircraft, from a trainer to a Spitfire to a heavy bomber. It did not matter. The Royal Navy as well, their aircraft all had the same blind flying panel. You had your engine instruments typically clustered together on the right, and then you had auxiliary systems clustered together on the left. The only thing that really changed between aircraft was things like the position of the landing, like the undercarriage lever and the flap lever. That was about it. Everything else would be in the same place using the same gauges, which is the same philosophy the Soviets picked up after the war with their fighters. Which is why, if you look at the cockpit of a MiG-19, a MiG-21, a MiG-23 and a MiG-29, most of the instruments are in the same place and they all use the same gauges. Similarly, if you look at the cockpit of an Mi-24, again you'll find a lot of familiar gauges because they just use the same ones across all their aircraft. So that explains a lot of the philosophy behind the Soviet cockpits, and it does result in it being a little less ergonomic, especially if you're not used to it, but it saves on logistics, it makes them cheaper and easier to build, it saves on having dozens of factories producing dozens of different gauges if you just use the same gauge across everything. And it also means that you can retrain pilots, conversion train pilots to a new aircraft very quickly, which is the same thing that the British did during World War II. Like, for instance, from a Hurricane to a Spitfire was extremely easy to convert a pilot. And then something like the Westland Whirlwind, the cockpit layout was essentially identical to the Spitfire, even down to the canopy framing. The only thing really different was the throttle quadrant was a little different, and the engine instruments were doubled because the Whirlwind was a twin-engine aircraft, but otherwise the same. Picked up the FW190 when it was on pre-order. Are you enjoying it? I watched Schnara flying it for a little while. It looked alright, but I'm curious as to what the little hand crank in the middle of the instrument panel is. I guess maybe like the radiator flaps or something? Because I've never seen that in any of the other FW190 cockpits. It seems like maybe it was a one-off feature they got rid of. So the default head position for the Spitfire in this is really claustrophobic. As you can see, I've zoomed it all the way out, kind of moved the head position all the way back, because that's what feels comfortable to me. And this is more like IL-2's cockpit perspective, and I played so much IL-2, this is what I'm comfortable with. I would actually launch up Cliffs of Dover and stream that for a bit, but unfortunately getting OBS to capture the right window in Claude is a nightmare, because it runs in about 3 different windows and OBS never grabs the right one. So, I have streamed it in the past. The VODs are up on YouTube, on my channel there if you want to see them. There's a link to that in the description, but I don't play Cliffs of Dover very much. Unfortunately, by the time I had a working joystick again and a PC capable of running it, it was kind of dead. It had a really shaky release. It took a modding team a number of years to fix the game to the point where it was actually enjoyable. And then it had a bit of a renaissance, but by the time I got into it, everyone had kind of moved on to the new IL-2 series, which I do have, I just haven't got around to playing yet. I've got to set up all my controls and everything, and I'm so busy playing DCS most of the time that I never get round to it. I've got a lot of other games I want to do on stream, but I just spend so much time in DCS. It kind of prevents me from getting around to it. Radiator flaps, yeah, I thought so. I thought, what could it possibly be to be sitting there in the middle of the instrument panel, and a hand crank as well? That was the only thing that came to mind. Oh, bit of a freeze there. See, even in single player, you're not safe from freezes in DCS at the moment. It's really irritating. How much fuel we got left? Still full in the bottom tank. The Spitfire does have very limited range. It is an interceptor after all. But we're kind of pretty close to our optimal cruise settings here, although we are down quite low. So I'm not too worried about it. I just don't want to get too low on fuel. I'm not even 100% sure where I'm flying, to be honest. I just know I'm heading generally northwest from Beslan. I think that's Minvodi off the nose, those humps over there. So I think we'll go over there. It's so weird flying in something like a Spitfire or even the Su-25 after flying in fast jets for so long and seeing everything up close in more detail because it's not rushing past you at Mach 1. It makes the map feel so much bigger. You know, instead of being able to fly across it in a minute or two, it feels so much more expansive. The Mosquito will be wonderful. I love the Mosquito. The first war movie I ever saw as a kid was 633 Squadron, and it has been a favourite ever since. Even with the hammy acting and the, at times, questionable special effects, I do love that film. In fact, you guys can't see it, but right above my telly, so to the left of my desk here, I've got a print of one of the film posters for 633 Squadron when it was released. You know what, actually? Let's get this thing in a gentle climb, and let's get some music going. And hopefully this won't get the VOD muted on YouTube, but... Oh no, what are you doing? Fucking Firefox, goddammit. There we go. don't freeze DCS. Not the time. Let's go under this power line. Another power line here. Some trees and the power line, actually. Let's get onto that. Around the minaret. And buzz the town square. Alright. Get some altitude back and find somewhere to land. Pretty sure those two humps are Minvodi. I think that is my closest airfield at the moment, so we'll start heading that way. Are the power lines collidable now? I'm not 100% certain. I think the ones that are alongside roads are, but I don't think the high tension wires are. But I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. How's our fuel? Still good. This way, and we'll get another song on. Some more appropriate music once I get it trimmed out. Yeah, we'll call that close enough. I'm trying to do this with one monitor and reaching over my stick to type. Whoops. There we go. Just found myself a repire. I'm a Luddite. What is a repire? That agility, though. Oh shit. Nicely done. I might play some Tarkov later. I don't know if I'll stream it. Well, actually I probably will, but I don't know if it'll be part of this stream. I might take a break. I need to wash the dishes and then get some dinner, because I'm hungry. Is there a noticeable difference between the normal and clipped wing versions of Spitfire? Yep, clipped wing, faster roll rate. That's the reason they did it, so it would perform better down low against the 190. That's basically the only purpose of clipping the wings, is to increase the roll rate. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of the clipped-wing Spitfire aesthetically speaking. It kind of ruins its beautiful curves. But, you know, I can appreciate any kind of Spitfire, to be honest. I just prefer the full elliptical wing. Nearly at Minvodi, where we will be landing. May as well turn this off. So, the main thing that stopped me from flying the Spitfire in DCS so far has been getting off the ground. Between my broken and kind of janky to begin with rudder pedals and my inexperience with how it handles in DCS, I was not having a good time. So I've got the takeoff assistance turned up to 50%, and I'm going to try and slowly wean myself off that as I get used to the ground handling. Once she's in the air, she's beautiful. It's just on the ground that's the issue. I might have taken a liking to Cold War jets since I've grown up, but this is still where I'm at home. Temperatures are all good, she's nice and cool. We're not putting too much strain on the engine, that's why. What's the music? This is Nimrod by Elgar. I'll be honest with you, I don't really want to play with the game volume because, okay, so my hearing's pretty shitty and I have everything set pretty loud just so I can hear it. If I start fiddling with the volume on things, it gets a bit of a hassle. And I've got to go reset it later. And that's the airfield over that way. I think it's over that way. It's by that mountain, I'm pretty sure. There it is. I can see the hangars from here. Hopefully I'm not going to fly into the ground. I'm changing songs again. There we go. Slightly too loud. Actually, no, that's about right. That's about right. We'll leave it there. Getting a bit low on fuel. Full course, but come off the power, so I need to slow down here. We've also got to retrim the aircraft. Every time we do anything with the power, or the airspeed I should say, we've got to retrim the aircraft. Now this could get very ugly very quickly. You've been warned. Normally you'd want to come in on a closer base turn, because I can't see the runway now. So I'm going to do a bit of an S turn here. Just try and keep it inside. If this was FSX, I would be sticking my head out of the canopy, or cliffs and Dover. Okay. That's pretty much right off the nose. We'll bring the speed down. Drop the gear. Got to retrim when the gear and the flaps come down. That's the flaps. She really noses down when those come down. What trim you got? Elevator and rudder. No aileron. Way off the center line, but to be fair, we don't really need to even be on the runway, on the tarmac. We can just use the grass. Slight bounce. Oops-a-daisy. It's enough to make you weep. Oh god. Oops, 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 oops. I told you to be messy. Could have gone worse though. Just a little bit of a wing scrape. No. Okay, let's go across the grass then. If you want to go across the grass, we'll go across the grass. Okay, flaps are up. Open the hatch. So, on the real Spitfire, before you would actually come in on final, you would unlock that halfway, so that if you needed to get out in a hurry, you were ready to go. And you always take off and land with the canopy open, just in case. Notice the enormous swing to the left as soon as I put any power on. The Merlin will always try and take you left with power. The Griffin will try and take you right. I'm not really doing the song justice with my taxiing here. Yeah, they do. That was a bit of an issue when the Mark 12 and the Mark 14 entered service because they were both Griffin engined. The pilots expected them to swing left, so they gave them a boot full of right rudder when they went for their takeoff roll, and they ended up ground looping. Brakes on. How much fuel do we have left? About 8 gallons. There we go. What a beauty. And right on time with the music too. Okay. I do love the Spitfire. It's such a wonderful aircraft. So I grew up in the UK. We used to go to air shows all the time. I grew up around these things. The Hurricane did do the majority of the work in the Battle of Britain, and she never gets the glory she deserves, but I gotta say, the Spitfire is just something incredible to look at. In my opinion, the most perfect machine ever designed by humans, because form and function both work perfectly in harmony. There's nothing on this that doesn't need to be there. Yeah, very well timed stop. Also, funnily enough, although they can't make a patch that doesn't break their own fucking game, check this out. This is the bailout animation. It is an actual proper bailout animation, not just an ejection. Oh, and you're standing on the walkway. You actually hop out on the walkway when you're on the ground, which is pretty neat. There you go. Although at a very bizarre angle. Let's, I gotta turn right because I can't turn left because reasons, I guess. Let's go for a walk. Whoop. I wish that they'd just hurry up and make the pilots walking be WASD with mouse for look. Like, by default. Because it's so clunky and awkward. And it would be nice to actually walk around as the pilot once you get out of your aircraft. But yeah. There we go. Walking simulator. Yeah, I might as well go launch up armor now. So, also, I kind of touched on this earlier, but so this is an early production Spitfire Mark 9. I think it might be a Mark 5 airframe conversion, but I'm not entirely sure. As I said, the tail fin is the way, well, more specifically the rudder is the way you can tell when a Mark 9 was built. But the actual aircraft that ED used to model this Spitfire, as far as I'm aware, is the Fighter Collection's MH434, which is probably the most famous Spitfire in the world. She has been in every movie involving Spitfires. I think she has like 2 kills while serving over Europe, and was then sold to the Norwegian Air Force, I think. In a roundabout way, found her way back to Duxford. So she flies a lot of air shows and everything, and was the preferred aircraft of both Ray Hanna and Mark Hanna before both of them died. And they were probably 2 of the best warbird pilots the world's ever seen. So, pretty incredible stuff. If you guys have ever seen the series A Piece of Cake or any other movie or TV show which reused the footage from that, because this was only ever done once, MH434 is the Spitfire that goes under the bridge. And Ray Hanna, when he was alive, used to do stuff like that all the time. There's another clip on YouTube where there's a reporter discussing the like it was the anniversary of the Spitfire's entry into service or something. And he was talking about the history of the Spitfire, and Ray Hanna in MH434 comes right up behind him and just about shaved the top of his head with the prop. Like, just barely cleared, and the reporter absolutely fucking lost his shit, as you might imagine. It was a bit of a significant emotional event for him, I would say. Holy shit, they did that for real? Yes, they did. So, Ray Hanna and his son Mark were extremely skilled pilots. They spent a lot of time flying warbirds, but in particular the Spitfire, and especially MH434. So they knew that aircraft like the back of their hand. They would do things in that Spitfire that no one would dare do with any aircraft now, let alone a warbird. So yeah, now that I've established I can get off the ground and back onto it without killing myself, at least some of the time, I think we might be paying some more visits to the Burning Skies server and flying a bit in there and seeing if I can bait Tawny into dogfighting me with his 109 and his P-51. I did fly this against him yesterday. I killed his P-51 in it once. I also killed that a second time in the Mirage. I've got to readjust my curves though, because the Spitfire is so sensitive on the controls, especially not so much roll. Like, I've got my roll cranked way up in this and she just does not roll at high speed, which was a problem that she had in real life. Particularly the early Spitfires, the canvas covering on the ailerons would balloon at high speed and you get roll reversal, which is something that people are learning to deal with now because of the Tomcat, but it was very common in World War II aircraft. So she doesn't respond real well in roll at high speeds, which is again why they went to the clipped wing for low altitude work. But in pitch, she's extremely sensitive. You barely need to touch the stick and she pitches nose up. So I thought Tawny actually shot me down yesterday, but I did rip my wings at one point because I pulled a little bit too hard on the stick. Like, it wasn't even me yanking on the stick like I do in the MiG-21. I just gently pulled and the Spitfire went like that at about 400 miles an hour, which she didn't appreciate. But yeah, absolutely incredible aircraft. And as far as I'm concerned, the most beautiful thing to ever grace the skies. And I should probably stop looking at it before I start tearing up like a big baby. But yeah, so I think I'll be getting into flying the Spitfire a lot more. Oh, congratulations. Cool, I've been promoted for shooting up a couple of innocent trains and scraping my wing on landing. But yeah, so I'm going to be doing some more Spitfire in the near future, I think. I'm going to be trying to get back into the MiG-21, although it is a bit hard with my time zone. Quite often the Cold War server's only populated at like 3 AM my time. And I'm just going to keep hanging on for the MiG-23. When that thing comes out, that is it. I will be on the MiG-23 like Nuts was on the Tomcat. You will see me fly nothing else for a month. I cannot wait. And I especially can't wait to troll F-15s by pulling up alongside them, sweeping the wings, and then just fucking firewalling it out of there. Because from everything I've read, the MiG-23 could out-accelerate pretty much anything, including both the MiG-29, which is really nimble, and the F-15. It doesn't have the greatest thrust-to-weight ratio, but it is shaped like a rocket, and it flies like one. It's pretty impressive. And I'm sure I'll be ripping my wings off lots of times in that. But yeah, so I've been streaming for nearly 4 hours now, which I kind of wasn't planning. Let's have a look at where I can send you guys. I might be back on a bit later. I might do some DayZ or Tarkov or something, but like I said, I'm getting a bit hungry. Flying is hungry work. So I will probably go get myself something to eat and then might jump back on a bit later. Oh, I thought Pom was going to be on, but he is not yet. In fact, none of my usual DCS crew are on. Let's see who is streaming DCS. Let's see. Might send you guys to this guy because he looks like he could use some viewers. Just give me a second here to see what he's up to. I think he's flying the Harrier. Once Twitch stops bombing me with ads, we will see for sure. But yeah, it's good to see that we're getting more World War II stuff and more Soviet stuff. Those are the two things I really want. Like, the F-16 will be really nice because then I can relive my Falcon 4 childhood. And the Mudhen will be nice, but I really want more Cold War Soviet jets, particularly 60s and 70s era stuff. And I want more World War II stuff. And what I really want, what I really want, is some Cold War British stuff. I want an English Electric Lightning and a Blackburn Buccaneer. And I wouldn't say no to a Vulcan, but I doubt they'll ever give us something that big. Okay, yep, he's flying the Harrier, so I think this is where I'll send you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Jesus, okay. So my chatbot's not working properly, so this complicates things somewhat when I try and raid people. Tornado would be nice as well. I just want the older stuff. I really love my Cold War stuff. There we go. Well then, I'm off to get some food, and we'll possibly be back on later, as I said. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Ooh, hello. Hello. What was that? Thanks for the follow, Jock. Yeah, I will send you guys on over to Grandad UKO, and I'll catch you next time.